Running late to get to guitar. Let's get going. Let me go post our link over on our website so everybody knows we're here. Tonight we're doing all 4 levels of guitar, and so we're going to have to go kind of fast. Let me put our guitar site is denverguitarorchestra.com. Control V, Shift, highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, and update. So that gets the link over on the website. Let me make sure it's working properly. Link to join. Hold. Update. Guitar site's running a little slow today. I'm paying all this money for the upgraded business class, and so it shouldn't ever run slow in my mind. Let's see. Alright, let's come down, scroll, 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 click here. That is now opening up to class number 333, and that's something. 333 classes. And then, since we're at it, let's go ahead and put it over on Twitter for, for the international fame. https://denverguitarorchestra.com. Patience. Click. Upload, up, guitar. DGO generic. Tweet. That's the name of the logo. DGO generic. Alright. That's the level of creativity I'm working at around here. Hi everybody. Let's play some guitar tonight, shall we? Vic is in. Vic says the sound is good. Breezy up in Eugene, Oregon tonight. Denver, we had a hot day. We're less smoky than it's been. I can actually see Cherry Creek tonight. We're having sunset right now, so the sky is all these different colors. The smoke is definitely made for prettier sunsets. Not ideal. All right, let's get started. What I want to do is very quickly review Book 1 stuff and talk about one essential ingredient to your guitar playing, which is the key of E, or the chord of E. So grab Brother John. We're going to do 2 things. First of all, we're going to run through the melody, playing along together, and then we will split up and we'll make duets. Okay, so first I'd like to do just as it's written. We're going to play Brother John all the way down to measure 8. It says when you hit that repeat, you come all the way back up to the top. We're going to play it all the way down a second time, and then at measure 7, your skip measure 8. We're going to play measure 9 and 10, and then 9 and 10 are exactly the same as the previous measure, except that you have that tie there, and it looks like you hit 0 twice. You don't. It's just one long note. Okay, let's play it together. Not fast. 1, 2, ready, play. Slow it down just a little bit. It measures 9 and 10, and we almost all songs kind of coast into the port, coasting up to the pier, just real nice and slow to finish up the song. Linda made it in 64 degrees up in super windy in Vancouver. Isn't that interesting? It's howling. Jeez, Linda, you've been having crazy weather up there this year. Blowing away the clouds and giving us sunshine for another day. Yeah, you'll take it, right? Good to have you guys here tonight. All right, now, so you know how to play tablature. That's a big deal. It's a huge deal in my mind. 90%, probably 80%, 85% of guitar players never play melody at all on a guitar. It's a big miss that we have, because you can only play your favorite folk singer from the 70s so many times before you get bored. And if you can read tablature, you will never get bored. You will always have something else to work on. And you get better and you get faster and you get where you can just sight read stuff much more quickly. And then once you get your tablature well in hand, then you start noticing its relationship to the standard notation up above, and you can play it in either style, either with standard notation or with tablature. I like to have both because I feel like one lets me picture the song, and the standard notation is really nice for seeing the rises and falls of the music, whereas tablature is just super helpful in telling me, hey, put your fingers here, do this, So one is a lot more instructive than the other. The other one's a little more theoretical. Now, they both have their place, and they both have their benefits, and they both have their weaknesses as well. All right. Now, second most important thing in life that you can learn is the E chord on guitar. So let's make sure we do it correctly right off the bat. 3 strings up in the first fret, 1, 2, 3. Now, I have a plastic string guitar, so the bottom 3 strings of mine are nylon. Well, it's fluorocarbon, actually. But if you are on a metal string guitar, that's your first wound string. You've got 2 strings on the bottom that are not wound, and then the 3rd string here is wound. It's actually quite pleasant to press it down. And then your middle finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, remember we count from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your ring finger right underneath your middle finger, and then you have your E chord. Okay, so those 3 together. Now, when you're making a chord, make sure your thumb is not sticking up here. We talked about that before. When your thumb is up here, you're just making your life harder. Don't do that. Okay, thumb stays behind wherever your middle finger is. It stays behind there. You should never see it out in front. Isn't that pretty? That's the 2nd prettiest chord in the world. If you want to know the first most prettiest chord in the world, you could take all of the instruments combined. Just lift this middle finger, lift your index finger up, and you get an E minor. That's the prettiest chord you can make. Period. I notice my guitar is starting to sound a little dead. I've had these strings on 4 or 5 months now, and I don't ever have to really tune the guitar up anymore, and the strings are just being like, ugh, God, Gary, you really need to change these. All right, so there's your E chord. Okay, now we're gonna do. We're gonna sing it, and then you're gonna play it melody wise, and then you're gonna play it chord wise. Okay, so first off, 2 ways of making chords: strumming. Okay, either with your thumb down or your index finger down. Your index finger, you can go down and up, down and up, down and up, down and up. And then you sound like a cowboy. Okay, it's fine. Okay, your thumb down, you sound like I don't know, you sound a little more dramatic. Okay, the way I want you to play it for now. Grab these 4 fingers, thumb, index, middle, and ring. We're never going to use your pinky on your right hand until you're in graduate school. Pick any strings you like. Just make sure all the strings are different. So I might pick the top string and then 5, 4, 3, or you can pick 5, 4, 3, 2, or you can pick 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not going to matter. Just pick any 4 strings. Thumb goes on top, and then the other 3 fingers go underneath. Okay, so you got, okay, and we're just going to pluck it like that. It doesn't matter which strings you use. You can even change strings as the song goes along. Okay, we work on this claw technique a lot in fingerstyle. In fingerstyle, we're going to play with our thumb plenty, but we're also going to play with our claw a lot. That's why you can't use a pick, is because you're going to need to use all 4 fingers in fingerstyle. And in classical, I am working on a song right now with our guitar orchestra at school, where the professor is actually bringing in a pick, and all of the students are like, "What is he doing? We think that's bad." But it's one of these really heavy duty blah 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 songs, so he's actually brought a pick out. Everybody's all freaking out. All right, 4 beats per measure. 1, 2. If you're getting this sound, kind of a clunk sound, just squeeze a little bit harder. Ultimately, you're going to be able to play without using your thumb at all. But in the beginning, you kind of got to squish harder than you wish you did in order to keep all your strings down. You're building up your hand strength is what you're doing. Okay, from the top. I'm going to sing. I'm sorry. First note is Fre. Let's drop it down an octave. Fre. Let's use the C. Fre, 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 fre. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous. Sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines. Ding, ding, dong, ding, ding. Let's do it again. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. Ding, ding, dong. Ding, ding, dong. Okay, so instead of plucking all the way through, I did take thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. Same exact concept. I just, instead of pulling them all at once, I just divided them up individually. Sounds pretty that way, doesn't it? All right, so now we've played the chords together and we've done some singing. I have pretended to sing. Okay, your next job is I want you to go back to melody. 0, 2, 4, 0, and then I'm going to support you with chords. It's going to sound really cool at your house, okay? So you play melody, I'll play chords. We're going to go quite slow so you don't get in a pickle there in measures 5 and 6. 1, 2, ready, play. 0, 2, 4, 0, 0, 2, 4, 0, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. First string, second string, first string, first string, second string, first string. Isn't that fun? It's really fun to play duets. Hopefully you did well on that. And also you figure out when you're playing duets, if you make a mistake, you can't stop. You just got to forget it and move on. Talk all the time. There are no mistakes. It's just the way you played it in the past, right? That's what a mistake is in music. It's already over. It's already done. It's too late. Let it go. You used to play it different than it says on the paper. All right. Last job. I will play melody. You're going to give me 4 beats. All right. Grab your E chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here we go. Duets, as Vic says. So there we go. That's what we're working on this week. This will be last week with Brother John. This version of it. Get really solid with your E chord. Make sure you're plucking at both. You're using the E chord, and you can sing to yourself, right? Don't let anybody listen to you. If you're a terrible singer, it's fine. Just sing as best you can, or hum, right? Because the truth is, if you're a male singer, this arrangement is going to be too high for your voice, and so you can try dropping an octave if you know what you're doing. If you can't, you just sing as best you can, or hum along, or at the very minimum, hear it strongly in your head, the words, as you do, and try plucking the chords. So if I've got my chord on, okay, try arpeggiating your chords, thumb, index, middle, ring, and then of course strumming with your thumb, and then with your index finger, and then continue each day to play through the melody. One of the things I talk about all the time is going back to the basics. Those of you who have been around a while, you're going to teach somebody how to play guitar one of these days, and this is where you're going to start. You want to be really solid on this piece of music. For me, I'm working on my pinky these days. I'm trying to get it where it's always this nice, round, beautiful shape rather than this straight shape I have a tendency to do. And so as I'm playing right now, I'm making mistakes, really being overly focused on keeping a perfect pinky posture. So there's always something else to learn, even on something as simple as this. All right, last week on Brother John, and then next week we'll start the next version of Brother John, which is titled Frere Jacques. It's exactly the same song, but it's in the key of A, which brings it down to a much more singable, what am I trying to say? It's in a better range for our voices, probably. If you're a soprano female, these are perfectly, it's already in your range, and will mess you up. But other than that, we're going to bring the range down a little bit, make it a little easier to sing. All right, so there's Frere Jacques. This week, play it both melodically and with the E chord as many times. We'll play some duets again next week. All right, there's book one. Yay! Book one rules. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Honestly, I could teach book one all day long if somebody'd let me. All right, book two. Book two is full of songs you're like, I hate that song. I hate that song. But you don't really hate the song. What we really are doing. I have some songs in my set list here that are not supposed to be there. Get rid of this one. Remove. All right. Tonight we're playing Hush Little Baby as this is the last night for Hush Little Baby. So let's grab that first. And these songs, I know, guys, are kind of dumb, but they are really, really valuable for you as technique classes to help you get your basic toolbox in really solid shape. You're not really going to ever play Hush Little Baby in your life other than to teach it to somebody else, but you are going to play a whole lot of E chords and B7 chords, and this is the place to learn to mess those up. Let's grab an E chord, and then let's grab a B7. Back to E. Okay. 1, 2, ready, play. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird won't sing, then Papa's gonna buy you a diamond ring. One more time. And if that diamond ring turns brass, then Papa's gonna buy you a looking glass. And if that looking glass gets broke, then Papa's gonna buy you a billy goat. And then, let it go on. If you sing all four rounds of that, you get a gold star. You get extra credit. I don't know if I've ever sang all four verses of that, other than the time that I had to type them in. So there you go. E and B7, very important chords, comes up all the time in your life, and so don't neglect them. They do need to be studied. Let's play the melody. Just one time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Not a ton to the melody there, but I did notice that right off the bat I moved into second position. So now my index finger plays the 2s, ring finger playing the 4s, and pinky finger playing the 5s. And then you don't need to be sliding all around doing crazy stuff, right? It's all right there. Much more difficult, however, is the tough acts, and you are going to be sliding around doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and you're going to be reaching, and it's entirely possible you're not going to be able to do what's written on the paper. So that's where your musicianship comes into place. Your first chord here, E chord, and then a 4 on the top. Yeah, you might not be able to do that. So what do? You play the E chord and then go get the 4. Put your B7 on and add the 4. And maybe you can't do that. I mean, I'm barely able to do it. Learn how tortured my pinky is, right? And if you can't do it, just play the 4. And then you can play a real B7. So be mindful when you are not reaching something, when you know it's not going to happen. Start looking at which parts of the chords you can get rid of. When I'm doing this and I get to a chord, I'm like, I'm not feeling it today. I start dropping off strings, so I'm not going to play the 6th string or the 5th string, or maybe even the 4th string. I'll just lose these 3 strings and then try to build the chord off of this. So in this case, if I can't reach that 4 and I know it, I might play this as just a 1 and a 2 here, and now I've got to reach up here. Now I just play these lower strings. Whoops. Where am I? Here it is. Oh, I see what I'm doing. So I gotta go here. Blue, blue, blue. There it is. Right, so I'm dropping off these top 2 strings, having to think through it. I don't normally do that, but not on this song anyway. But that is your strategy is, hey, just start dropping off some of these lower strings and seeing which strings you can still use as your chord, and it ends up sounding just fine. Okay, not as good as if you play everything. Okay, 2 times through on Hush Little Baby, and then we'll move on to a far more exciting song with Itsy Bitsy Spider. From the top, nice and slow, I'm going to play the whole thing with my thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very hard song to play. Here it is, this simple little melody, and you put it on in the key of E, and you have your work cut out for you. I mean, that's definitely a high-level difficulty. Part of the reason I have it in that key is to just really make you get comfortable stretching your pinky, and sometimes the pinky stretch is just a little too far. Right? I have a full-size guitar, and I can barely reach it, and so just one of those things where we're really working on getting some independence with the pinky, and then of course obviously building off of the E chord and the B7. All right, there's Hush Little Baby. Let's put that in the can and move on. All right, on to Itsy Bitsy Spider. Itsy Bitsy Spider's way funner. Way funner. More fun. As fun as all get out. All right, your 2 chords. G chord. Okay, and D7. And back. Okay, we're in 6/8. And so that means there's going to be 2 beats in every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you know how the song goes, so you don't have to really spend too much time thinking about it. Get your G chord on. I'm going to sing 1, 2. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. So big thing on this one is, one, I am plucking just 2 times per measure, even though I'm in 6. If I did 6, it would sound a little crazy. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Alright, that's just too much. Alright, so just do it twice. Bum, bum, bum. Next thing, getting from G over to D7. I noticed what I was doing. I was paying attention. I'm going from G. I'm leading with my index finger to get to the D7. And then I'm leading with my ring finger to get back to G. I think that's probably the smart thing to think about that. Okay, down on the bottom, the arpeggios, when you're in 6, actually they work out really well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. I jumped the chord too quickly, but you see what I'm doing there, right? Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. That's 6. That's why every time I see a song in 6, I'm like, sweet, I can do an arpeggio. All right, let's play the melody real quick. Remember, guys, when you see a 4, you have to play them with your pinky. You have to. It's the 11th. Well, there's actually already 11 commandments. We'll call it the 12th commandment, right? You have to use your pinky on 4s. Okay? If you do that, everything else in the song will be easy. But talking your pinky into playing 4s is never exactly a fun prospect in the beginning. So hit the 4, and then we'll play some zeros. Ready? 1, 2. Next week we'll play a duet as well, so you'll play the G and the chords and the D chords, and I'll play the melody, and then we'll switch. Let's talk very quickly about the tough fugue. Once you're in book 2, I do want you diving into those tough fugues. Okay, again, start off with your 4, and then just grab a G chord, and I've got 2 0 0, but you could use the top string as well. Hit the 2. There's my 2. All the zeros. So poor job playing it, but the idea is really, instead of strumming on this one at all, just use your claw the whole time, and really, I think I set up the arrangements to just sort of make you hit your 4 on your pinky in measure 0, and then it shows up again in measure 12. And so just stay focused in on, yeah, I'm going to totally hit those 4s with my pinky, and I'm going to become a great guitar player. So next week we'll dive into Itsy Bitsy Spider. We'll play a duet with it, and we will play the melody, of course, and then see how smooth you can get that Tough Acts. It's really kind of a fun song, and really the whole entire way through you're either plucking 1 string, 2 strings, or 3 strings, so you really can just use your thumb, index, middle and play the whole song, and really focusing on the inner voicings. When we call it, say, outer voicings, that's the high notes and the low notes, but your inner voices, that's where most fingerstyle sounds come from. All right, that's enough instruction. Let's play some music. Let's go on to Brahms Lullaby, Book 3. Book 3. Brahms Lullaby. This is one of my favorite songs ever. I have a typo in this. Brahms Lullaby. It's not Brahm apostrophe S. It's Brahms apostrophe Lullaby. Drives me every time I open this up. I'm like, God, Gary, you're so dumb. All right. A chord, E7, and D. Okay, be mindful. Okay, here's Brahms. He knows a little bit about writing music. A chord is your main chord. And you've gone over B, C. D chord is number 4, 1, 4, and E7 is number 5, A, D, E. A, D, and E7, plain old regular folk music, right? And so, yeah. Sometimes we think, oh, classical music, very serious. Not really. Grab your A chord to get started. Okay, we're going to play it 2 times through. You play it any way you want, hopefully tough acts. Okay, but if you are playing chords or if you're newer, play the melody. If you need to work on those 3 sets of chords, do that, whatever makes you happy, and we'll see what happens. I just noticed Vic says, I'll take the gold star, but I don't want that stupid Billy Goat. Hush Little Baby, it's the weirdest song. Like who wrote stuff like that? I always think, a lot of times when I'm reading through old songs like that, I think, some school teacher wrote these in because they're, meant for kids type thing. But that's a whole list of random stuff that no kid would want. So I don't know who wrote that. All right. Brahms Lullaby. Remember, it's a lullaby. Soft and pretty. 1, 2. It's a 2-beat counting. 1 and 2 and. nice? You should play that every night before you go to bed. That is great. That is a great song, and actually pretty challenging from a tough acts perspective. So, yeah, I don't know. I could play that song every day. I love that. All right. I think I say that about every song except Book 2 songs. Book 2 songs. Every time I change the song on Book 2, I'm like, I hate that song. All right. I don't hate them for what they're good for, but they're not that much fun to play. All right, Danny Boy. All right, so we're done with Brahms Lullaby now for a while, so we'll put that into the can, and we'll move on. Danny Boy, we'll keep that around this week and next week, and then we're going to study Down by the Riverside as our final book 3 tonight. Danny Boy, let's play it. We went through it last week, and as I mentioned, I have a big old glissando sitting in the middle of measure 4. I have no idea why I put that in there. Same thing at measure 12. And you're like, why, Gary? So those are things that will be going away. What is this thing? Why is that even on there? I think that's really the only glissando that makes sense. Measure 18. 1, 2, 3, blong. Or I guess it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, blong. Yeah, and we'll play it through twice. And so this is our first week of just playing the darn thing. Let's see how it goes. And then next week we will try to give it its best swan song. Remember, intro, our quarter notes. And so it's 1, bow, Danny boy. And don't go fast, right? But when you get to measure 16 and you're getting ready to turn around, they're eighth notes. And you will come and all the flowers. So make sure when you're going measure 16 to let that I love you so, let that ring out for 2.5 beats. The sheet music says 2 beats plus a half beat rest. But let that go a little bit longer than you think you're supposed to, and then be a little more aggressive with and you will, and make your turnaround. Also, remember measure 13. You're going to be a bar on 9. It's way up here, and then your C shape in front. So it's a bar on 9, middle finger on the 2nd string, ring finger up here on the 4th string, and okay, you're going to get that note. Better to get it on, get it clean. If you're a little bit late, oh, I'll be here. You don't want to be late, but if you have to be late, it's better to be late and clean at this particular moment, and then just slide it back. Pinky on the 5, and then the D chord. And if you can get through that one moment, the rest of the song is not, and the rest of the song is plenty challenging, but that's really challenging right through that section. So let's see how we do. Okay. Nice and slow. Really, if you take your time on this song, it'll come out of your guitar and you'll be happy. There'll be a 1 beat count in. Here we go. Ready? 1. Isn't that nice? How'd you do? How'd you play? Did it feel good? That's a lovely. I'm not sure. I know for sure. I don't know about my dad's side, but I know for sure my mom's side is heavily Irish. I got the you really don't want to stop pouring beer in your body gene, so I don't do that anymore. And I got the every time you hear Danny Boy, tears are going to magically leap out of your eyeballs gene. And so I really like that song. So there we go. I can't drink, so I'll just play Danny Boy. You know, it's basically the same thing as going to the pub. There's Danny Boy. Okay, how about that? We'll play that again next week. And let's go grab Down by the Riverside. Down by the Riverside gives you a chance to do a new activity, and it's adding percussion. So I want to tell you about a song we're working on in my guitar. Measure 9 gives you trouble. Let's see, measure 9. When I'm looking at Down by the Riverside, and I'm going, measure 9 is easy. Go back to Danny Boy. Measure 9. You know, it's fascinating. I used to drive me crazy too, Vic. Let's talk about it. That's a perfect opportunity. Go back to measure 9 on Danny Boy. Okay, you're coming out of measure 8. Measure 8 in your A chord. Let me give you just measure 8. Okay, so now you've got that big A note, and now you've got to rethink for switching the page. Okay, so open 2, 4. Now, the next chord, that A chord with the 5 on top, you've seen it a million times. Just little partial bar, and then try to keep this 5th string open. It's going to sound a whole lot better. And your pinky up on 5. Okay. Now, here's the trick. Because I used to really fight this measure too. Okay. Slide the pinky back to 4, and while you're playing that first 4, don't let it up. Just keep holding it down. And then go from this bar while you're holding this, and you can practice this without even playing your guitar. You hold the this note 4, and you're going to move your D chord in underneath, and then you can and then you lift up your pinky, and then lift up your middle finger. Okay, so I agree. It's very challenging there. So do it with me. Grab your A chord, bar with the pinky, and pluck that. Okay, slide your pinky back while you're hitting the 4. Don't let anything up. Just slide a D chord in underneath it, and then lose the 4, and then lose your middle finger. Go back, and then you're on to your A. So I worked on that. I did, and I totally. I was like, wow, I'm so glad Vic's having trouble with that, because that's what I had trouble with too. A chord, move, D chord, lose your pinky. Yeah. So for sure. While you're hitting that first 4, that's giving you the chance to sneak a D chord in underneath it. And then once you do it, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally going to work. Kind of takes the trouble out of that one measure. It's a good point, Vic. Definitely a moment to study just a little bit. That's one of the things we never talk about, which I should talk about every single time. When you run into a problem spot in a song, stop. Just stop yourself. Sit down, study that measure. Just really study it. And if that means going that slow, just as what we just did, and playing that one measure 50 times, that's what it means. And then it goes away, right? So let's take a look at Down by the Riverside. I'm trying to look at where's going to be a trouble spot on this one. There are no trouble spots on this one. But let's say going from measure 1 to measure 2, measure 0 into measure 1 was a problem spot. You would say, all right, I got to go 2, 2, 1, and then I want to get my A chord in. And I got to get my 4 up there. That's what a trouble spot, right? Getting your 4 up there. So you would just slow it down. Just forget the whole song and just work on the one measure. Work on that, whatever happens to be the trouble spot. Do it over and over, okay? For me, I'm trying to not have my pinky collapse on me, right? Because I'm ending up with a not happy pinky because of that. And so I would be working. Okay, it's not working tonight, but I am working on getting this stronger. Okay, let's talk Down by the Riverside, old spiritual song. With this song, the key with this one is the little snowflakes you see along here. Those are going to be percussion. Let's talk about different types of percussion. Thumb. Okay, do that just on the top. I often just use my pads on my other fingers. Okay, different sound. You'll see a lot of guys on YouTube hitting the side of their thumb on this top string. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. That's what they do. Okay, I am really over that. Most fingerstyle players do it way too much, and so I don't really encourage that type of thing. But putting some type of percussion in is a lot of fun. And I'm actually at school. I have we're playing a song where I take the 6th string and I pull it up over the top of the 5th string and twist them, and then I play this. Well, I'm really just a snare drum at that point, right? And I play that for 76 measures. So that tells you, they're like, well, none of the guitarists around here who are any good are going to put up with playing that. So let's give it to Gary. And Gary's happy to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 76 minutes. Wait till you hear this song. You're like, what? Who would write something like that? This is your chance to practice your percussion items. And the guitar is full of percussion ideas. You know this one? Right, these types of things. So the guitar is, we want to get all kinds of different crazy sounds out of it. So we practice with this thumb. Now, by the way, in the tough acts, you'll notice there's zeros in there. This was when I was when I was writing these songs back in the day, not 2017. I don't know necessarily if I was focused in on how to hide certain notes. So you'll see in the tough acts those zeros. They're just placeholders. Don't play the zero. Play the percussion. Okay, or you could do both, I suppose. Don't do that. All right, let's just play the melody. We'll play the chords, of course. A chord, E chord, and then a D chord, and then back to A. So same exact chords as in Brahms Lullaby. And let's play through the melody. Make sure you know how it goes. From the top, I'm going to count in 3, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Go to 18. Don't go all the way back to the top. Go up to 18 and let's play that. feel overly like you've got to follow the notation timing, right? It's an old spiritual, so let the notes be longer or shorter. Get a little bit of soul into this thing, right? And when you're doing the tough part of this, it's actually really a lot of fun, right? Let yourself be a little crazy on it, and enjoy the spiritual journey of laying down your sword and shield. I think, what else should I think do I have to say about this song? Basic chords. You know, a lot of times these old songs like this, not complicated chord structure, but the songs linger because they're fun to sing. They're they make sense, and all of that. So yeah, so that's that'll be a fun one next week to and really work on. Again, try different things. Thumb drum this way. I mean, finger drum this way. Thumb drum this way, or hit that string like that. Clack clack clack. You know, find some way to make a cool percussion noise. Okay, there's a different one. There's a different one. Another one. I've never seen anybody do that, but you could. Knock around on your guitar, find out where the coolest sound comes out. That's it. That's down by the Riverside. All right. So, guys, those of you studying Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3, you can sneak off, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for being here. Come join us on Tuesday nights for a guitar orchestra. It's really, really fun, really, really hard, and really, really worth doing, I think. And then, guys, those of you who are doing classical, let's pull up your Waltz by Carulli and see how that's coming along. Classical Waltz by Carulli. Isn't this a fun piece? It's really, really nice. I mean, it's you know, it's only this little tiny song, but boy, there's a lot of music in here. So, and really very instructional too, in terms of getting your C and G7 worked out pretty cleanly. Now, most of the guys I see this play at 900 miles an hour on the thing. We're not going to do that. Okay, so not fast. Okay, and the better you get, and if you decide I love this song, get it together and then see how fast you can get. Bum 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 bum. All right, we won't play it that fast. From the top, 1, 2, 3. going. Got a 1 and a 3 at the very last one. Slow down quite a bit as you're coming into 15 and 16 that last time, and remember your fine is at 16. You know, make yourself a little highlighter or something there to remember that you hit it there. Isn't that pretty? All right, so we'll put that one in the can for a while. Let's go look at Torito. Donna came in, and Henry is sitting on top of her back, and they're both staring at me. I have a very, very serious audience right at the moment. So let's see if that makes it playing better or worse. All right, Torito. You guys may remember this was one of the songs I had to turn in for when I applied for college. So let's see if I can play it anymore. Linda says, yesterday guitar orchestra was hard. Yeah, right. Just continue to show up. Here's what I know about a guitar orchestra is that it is certainly like the song like Somewhere yesterday, something is what it's called, not somewhere. Something was not going well there in the studio either. Some of those songs are going to go better than others, and as we get closer to possibly putting on a concert, we'll get rid of the ones that aren't going very well, and we will assign them to study on one-on-one, right? But I think the big thing is with orchestra, and especially since you guys are online and it's hard to hear and all that stuff, stay focused in on playing melody as much as possible, and a lot of people show up to orchestra and they're like, well, I'll just play chords because it's easier. It's not easier. It's actually quite a bit more difficult than you saw in some of those songs. The chords are really, really tough. And, honestly, we have a couple of players that are really first-rate guitar players, better than me by a noticeable amount. And they're all working their brains out trying to get these chords put together. So if it were me, I for sure would stay really focused in on melodies and seeing if you can make those come out. Plus, you know the songs, right? And so it's more fun to play those and practice those at home, and just be. We've got many more months to go before, and we may not even put one on in December. It may feel too rushed, and we'll move it to January or February, and we'll instead of Christmas songs, we'll do love songs or something like that. We'll see. That group is definitely the stuff we're asking to do that with them is very, very difficult, and because there's only a small group, the stuff that's easier, the stuff that's hard doesn't just happen, so I agree. Yesterday was hard. All right, Torito. Let's give it a try. This is one shot through all the way down. 1, 2, 3. I want to count 4, okay, even though we're supposed to count 2. And think of it as 1 and 2 and. Well, let's count it that way. 1 and 2 and. Start again. 1 and 2 and. Quiet. Very quiet. Build your volume. one. The whole thing is dumb until you get to the very end and they're like bum, blum, blum. And that's beautiful, right? It's not dumb. It's an exercise type song, obviously, and the main thing you're working on is volume up and volume down, volume up, turn it down. Really kind of fun. And then the last three notes. I love that. That feels like 1973 to me for some reason. Okay, so there's Torito. Let's make this deal. Let's get rid of Torito for next week. Let's hang on to the Waltz. The Waltz is way more important in terms of something worth playing than this song. And so let's hold on to Carulli one more week. I don't know how many weeks we've had it, but let's hold on to him another week. And we'll toss Torito. Not a ton of music there, just a little bit of an exercise. And then let's very quickly talk about Klangbild. You talk about a weird song. If you had a chance to pull it up and look at it, you'll be like, I don't think I like this song very much. Where did I put it? Klangbild. Klangbild 11. That's my favorite part. We're doing Klangbild 11, and next week we do Klangbild 13. So we won't play it in any detail, but you can see what's going on here. This is really another one of these exercises where you got to think about getting your fingering correct. And so, O 3 3 O 3 3 O 3 3. And then all of a sudden it changes, right? Okay, and those are quarter notes, so make sure those are longer. And then back to this weird note, weird idea. Think about your fingering there, because you're going to hit this 3, and then a 2 and a 3. Okay, and don't use that double bar. Doesn't mean take a rest. It just means that the idea is going to change. And then at 8. And then you'll repeat that section. And then the second time you come around, skip 11, go to 12. And then you've got 3 on that third string. And now you're splitting up your fingers. And so you want to be thinking about how you're going to do your right hand attack. Aren't those weird sounds? They're certainly cool. And then come down here. Back to this main idea. Here it is. On the right notes, I am. Notice it says rit, which means slow down. There's that cool, weird moment. Who knows what's going on there? You're going to hit that repeat. It says DSL coda. So you're going to go all the way back to 1, play the main idea, and then notice when you get to measure 7, that's where your coda is. And so now when you hit that coda, you'll drop down to 21. So the repeat block up there will remind you if you forget. 0 through 11, then go back, and then it's 1 through 20, and then 1 through 7 again. And then when you get to the ending, measure 21. Whoops. Finish on that G note. It's a crazy song, kind of fun to play. We will only play it 1 week probably, but it's kind of fun to get used to some of these crazy modern songs that when you run into. Some sooner or later you find one you really like. Mostly they're like, I don't like that, but so this week we got Carulli, Zenamon. I'm sorry, yeah, Carulli. we're gonna drop Zenamon. That's what we're gonna do. Play Carulli for next week. Play the Klangbild 11 for next week, and then I believe we have a Klangbild 13 is the next one on the list. So we'll get our Klangbilds out of the way, and I think Klangbild basically translate more or less to tone poem, and so there you go. Hope you guys have a great night. It's good to see both of you and everybody else who wandered through, and Klangbild will take some time. Don't spend too much time on it, Vic. It's not that important. It is good for helping you divide up your fingers a little bit, but I wouldn't study it overly. It's a fun thing to work on a little bit, but not that much. Work on Carulli. Is it Carulli? Yeah. Yeah, Carulli is the one you want to be able to play. That's the one that's real legit. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you. Well, probably tomorrow afternoon, right? For go take a look at the Blue Danube. I just reposted the full thing for tomorrow afternoon's ukulele group. It should be super funny because it turns out there's a whole lot to learn in a very relatively short amount of space on that song. So have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.